So this little baby that you guys see on my screen was missing. Now, the circumstances behind this little girl turning up missing, disappearing, or whatever the case is, was suspect from the jump. And I think I've told you guys plenty of time, if y'all have ever watched my channel before, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I always believe in looking at the source of whoever had the child last, which in this case, it seems like it might have been the mother. But that's generally when it comes to searching, you want to search that person, watch that person, make sure that their story makes sense. Because I never thought how this baby ended up disappearing made any sense at all. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Let's go ahead and get into the story and then we'll go from there. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. So I'm going to be using two sources. This one is from people.com, so shout out to People. And I'm also going to be taking a look at the Montreal Gazette.com. So thank y'all both for the article. And yes, I did show the little girl's face. Here's the thing. We're talking about trying to find a baby. It was imminent to save her life. So her picture already ended up needing to be public so people knew what to look for, who to look for, and to report it as quickly as possible. They were able to do that. We'll show the mom's video, crazy video here in a minute. A toddler who went missing for 72 hours has been located by the side of a highway in St. Albert, Ontario. Of course, this is in Canada. According to the Canadian newspaper, the National Post, 3-year-old Claire Bell, beautiful little angel. We'll talk about the dog here in a minute. Let me go back to the little girl. This little angel right here went missing on Father's Day. Very recent. That was actually on our last live stream. Sunday, June 15th, resulting in a frantic search. In a post on Facebook, Quebec police confirmed that Bell had been located. So that's wonderful news, but that's not where the story ends just because you found the baby and you just go on. And the thing is we're talking about you need to find preventatives, right? To make sure and investigate how it happened and to make sure however it happened doesn't allow it to happen again, if that makes sense. So a lot of people might be wondering, why is this like that should be the end of the story? Well, in this case, is actually not. It's just the beginning. She was found in the afternoon of Wednesday, June the 18th, 90 miles from her home in Montreal. 90 miles. How many of you guys believe that a 3-year-old would know how to navigate, walk, survive, eat, drink, take care of herself, protect herself from the wild, from the elements at 3 years old and make it 90 miles away from home on her own? Anybody believe that? Because I don't. I never did. In my humble opinion, everything about this said, Mom has something to do with this. Tommy Ty said, no way. I agree. Thank you. I'm just like, hey, there's no freaking way. This baby was taken and dumped. The real question is when did they dump her? So I'm assuming they might have dumped her maybe by the second day. I don't see this baby surviving and doing very well in 72 hours. That's a long time for anybody to just be dumped in the middle of nowhere, not know where to go and not know what to do. But I don't doubt the indomitable spirit of children and God's loving protection around this baby. Maybe she did survive a whole 72 hours. It's just kind of hard to know. Claire Bell, 3 years old, of LaSalle, was located alive at around 3 p.m. near Highway 417. Again, let me say that again. Nearby the highway. That sounded like she was dumped off by Highway 417 in Ontario by our colleagues from the Ontario Provincial Police. authorities wrote in French. Thank you for all sharing your thoughts. A press conference is scheduled for around 7 p.m. in the St. Albert, Ontario. Per the National Post, police are adding that finding Bell alive was the best result they could have imagined, because this normally don't turn out that well for missing kids. As reported by the Montreal Gazette, which I'll go and read their article here in a second, the girl had last been seen Sunday around 2 p.m. in Southeast Ontario. The Gazette noted that hundreds of police and civilian volunteers participated in the search for her, with one telling the outlet that the toddler's disappearance was very frightening and very sad. Even the news people were getting choked up. They were crying and stuff. Y'all see the videos. I'll let y'all take a look at it. But I'm like, I feel where they're coming from, because they're just like, they look at this little girl like she's so innocent. That could have been their baby. It's like they can relate to that. This little girl looks like it could have been, even if you want to just chalk it up to race. Any of us, it matters more when the children look like they come from our lineage, right? That's just the natural thing. Canadian news outlet CTV described the frantic search for Bell, noting that the girl was found wandering alone near a highway on Ontario. The outlet also reported that the little girl had eventually been located by a drone search after a tip-off. Her mother, by the name of Rachel Todd, let me get her face up on the screen. That's part of her face. But we're going to put a whole face out there. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Right here. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. How you doing? How you doing? That's Mom. Rachel Todd reported her missing Sunday at 3:30 p.m. I can't read that. Coteau de Lac, roughly 60 miles from where she was last seen. The outlet noted that the mother, Rachel Todd, was arrested and subsequently charged with child abandonment. Let me say that again. Mom, who reported this girl missing, was charged with child abandonment, right? So that would point to the fact that Mom did something wrong. There's enough probable cause that they believe they could get a conviction in court, and they said, we're going to charge you and arrest you. You did something wrong in our opinion, which makes sense. Per the Gazette, the Montreal Gazette, the mother, Rachel Todd, appeared at the Valleyfield Courthouse on Wednesday and remains in custody. Proceedings have been paused until Friday, June the 20th. According to the outlet, police are looking for a woman thought to be a witness in the case. They report that she met with the mother on the day of Clara Bell's disappearance and is a key to tracing the toddler's movements. For now, the investigation is still ongoing, and for the safety of the public, administration of justice, we object for now, police stated after being asked when Todd would be released from prison, as noted by the Gazette. People has contracted, I can't read that. It's something Canadian, something Canadian. I don't know. Let me read to you guys from the Montreal Gazette, because some of y'all might be wondering, where is the biological father, right? Said, when was this? I gave the date, but I will give the date again. You might have missed it. I will give the date again. This girl was found on a highway on June the 18th. She was reported missing 3 days prior. Make sure everybody got that. Since the disappearance of the 3-year-old on Sunday, her father has shared a series of public appeals on social media, urging people to help with the search and come forward with their information. Of course, they already found her. I just want y'all to hear from the biological father, because we don't hear a lot of this. Not much is known about Matt Bell, who's 35 years old. The professional chef has not spoken to the media publicly since his daughter disappeared. In the aftermath of her disappearance, her mother, Rachel Todd, was arrested and charged with child abandonment. Like Bell, she works in the restaurant industry. It's interesting, okay? Now, according to Bell's Facebook profile, the two were engaged in 2021. Although recent TikTok posts by Todd suggests they may have been since separated. On Monday, Bell shared several posts on Instagram, including updates from the Sûreté du Québec appealing to the public. I don't know what the hell that is. That's some Canadian stuff, so I don't know what that is. On Tuesday, he posted several times again. One of the posts was a link of a Facebook message originally shared by someone who identified themselves as a family friend. The post included a widely circulated image of the girl smiling. Above the image, the caption reads, "Please, anyone in Anybody in this area, if you live or work or have a business near the highway or side streets," I cannot read them damn cities. I'm sorry, I can't. He said to check your cameras from June 15th, for those asking about the date. June the 15th, around 9:40 a.m. to about 3 p.m. The girl was last seen around 9:45 a.m. Sunday near Newman Boulevard in Montreal's LaSalle borough. Her mother reported her missing nearly 6 hours later. Let me say that again. 6 hours later. And you'd have to ask the obvious question, what the hell took so long? Why? Why 6 hours? Anybody think that's a little bit weird? Because I damn sure do. 6 hours. I think 6 minutes would be too long to not know where your kid is, let alone 6 hours. Her mother reported her missing nearly 6 hours later, around 3:45 p.m. at a fireworks store in Côte-du-Lac, about 60 kilometers southwest of Montreal. Police set up a command post nearby. On Monday afternoon, officers found a dead dog near Highway 30. Why would I bring up a dead dog? Because that dog was her dog. That dog was owned by the family of the mom, from what I understand. Pretty weird, huh? Dead dog, missing child. And I'm going to show y'all that crazy video that the mom posted because I thought it was crazy. There was no Amber Alert issued. Police said that they did not have enough information or enough evidence to believe that the girl was abducted. Again, that follows under a qualification. If y'all don't know about Amber Alerts, just Google search it. It has to follow a criteria for them to issue an Amber Alert. The mother's bail hearing was set for Wednesday, but postponed. Prosecutors said that the investigation is ongoing and more charges could follow, and we hope that they will follow. So if y'all want me to show this crazy video to mom, please let me know. I'll let y'all take a look at this. Let me hit the fair usage so we don't get flagged by YouTube. I love you, YouTube. Please stop demonetizing my videos. Come on, let's go.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
If y'all would do me a favor, if you are listening to the sound of my voice, you can help our podcast. All you got to do is hit that thumbs up. We want to have 1 thumb up for everybody watching. So if we got 100 people, we want to have 100 thumbs up. Please hit that thumbs up. Let's take a look at this video. Let me put it on the big screen. Hold on. Wait. I'm going to make it big so y'all can see this. Hold on. I'll make an adjustment. All right. This is extremely short. What's up, Juju Positive? What up? What's up, everybody? CC, Sarah, Chelsea. Has everybody already hit that thumbs up? Joyce, what's up, Joyce? Please, thank you very much. Hit that thumbs up. Help your boy out. Bring some more people in here. Let's take a look at this. It's really, really short.
You try that again, and this is gonna get ugly.
That's her and her daughter Something's wrong. She's mad at somebody or something. She looks hella unstable. I don't know. I don't think she needs to be a parent. I think that's quite apparent. Let me say thank you to Tomi Ty showing some love. Said thank you for bringing these children's stories to light. Back in the day, abuse would go on unexposed. Wow. I hear that. Thank you very much for showing some love. And that is Japanese currency called yen. That is cool. I've never had that before. Thank you, Tommy Ty. Appreciate that. Showing some love in the super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Let's listen at this again. Yeah, she sounds crazy as hell. Let's listen at this again.
You try that again, and this is gonna get ugly. You try that again, and this is gonna get ugly. You try that again, and this is gonna get ugly.
Next thing you know, there's a dead dog involved and then a missing child for 3 days. And none of it adds up. Let's take a look at the news stories.
The missing 3-year-old Quebec girl has been found alive. Police say she was found safe this afternoon in eastern Ontario. Global's Dan Spector is following the story for us. Dan, how did they find her and how is she?
Donna, almost 72 hours after she first went missing, Claire Bell has been found a province away, alive and safe. Now police are among those celebrating the good news after 3 days of uncertainty. Bell was spotted alone on the side of a highway in eastern Ontario by an Ontario Provincial Police drone, about 100 kilometers west of where police began their search in Quebec. Officers say she was conscious when she was taken into the hands of paramedics and sent to a hospital nearby. Authorities in Ontario got involved today after police spoke to a witness who said she had seen Claire and her mother Rachel Todd on Sunday afternoon. This is the 4th day more than 150 police resources have been searching this area west of Montreal for the little girl.
She was speaking with the police officer. She was alive. We provided some first aid in water and food for now, and she's been taken care by the paramedics. So the priority is just to make sure she is okay.
There are feelings of jubilation now for sure, but of course many more questions have now emerged. The main one, how does a 3-year-old girl end up all by herself on the side of the highway? Was she out there by herself without food and water for the past several days? Her mother, Rachel Todd, had another court appearance today where she is charged with child abandonment. She has another court appearance coming up this Friday and remains detained. But for now, a major sense of euphoria has struck this whole area as the best possible scenario has unfolded. Donna.
All right, Dan Spector in Coteau-du-Lac, Quebec. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Mitsumi is off tonight. It is a story that has captivated people across the province, and many were fearing the worst after a frantic 4-day search for a missing Montreal toddler. Well, late this afternoon came the confirmation of an outcome that everyone had been hoping for. 3-year-old Claire Bell found alive, safe and sound after a large-scale police operation spanning Quebec and Ontario. This is an image of her in a police car shortly after she was found, courtesy of her colleagues at Nouveau Info. The little girl was found wandering alone near a highway in Ontario. Denise Roberts joins us live from Coteau-du-Lac. And Denise, I can just imagine a lot of emotion after the announcement from police this afternoon.
Well, Maya, I think we were all feeling so much emotion as the news came in late this afternoon that Claire Bell was found alive. She was found alone at the side of the 417, and that information came from a tip today from a woman, an important witness that police met. This woman was located in St. Albert on a farm there, and from there police were able to conduct a drone search along the 417 where they located Claire alone but alive. And as they were sharing this news, Maya, I can tell you we were all feeling the emotion, because day 4 of a search, you do not expect this kind of news. But we were so grateful to hear, and the searchers, everyone involved, there were cheers, there were clapping, cars were honking their horns. It was just a beautiful scene, because really we don't have the answers yet of how this little girl survived 4 days, but she is alive, and we do know that she is in hospital right now, where she is being just checked over to ensure that she is in good condition. But here's more from the police on the condition when they found her today.
She was speaking with the police officer. She was alive. We provided some first aid in water and food for now, and she's been taken care by the paramedics. So the priority is just to make sure she is okay. How is she healthy? And so that's the priority. And I know you all have a lot of questions about how is this possible, or how has she been discovered? Where has she been? I have the same questions myself, but all I can tell you right now is we're happy that she's alive.
Well, that's exactly it, Denise. I mean, there are still so many unanswered questions here, but police are expected to give more details later tonight.
Yes, there's going to be a press conference held by the OPP-NSQ at 7 p.m. and that will be in St. Albert.
Let me say thank you real quick. I'm going to shout these out as they come in. So we got one more Cash App, and that is from our friend. Let me make sure I can say your name. I'm going to just say the first name. So Sharon, if you're listening, I want to say thank you very much. Said, love what you do, Jay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I did get your Cash App. Here we go. Let's keep going.
That's the location where she was last seen, where she was discovered today. And so we will hopefully get some more answers of just what happened in the days in between. And but for now, Maya, it's really a time to just be grateful that this story has the outcome that it did.
All right, thank you very much, Denise. And yes, it is very emotional. We appreciate your reporting. We know it's not easy to report on stories like this, but again, a good news story today, an outcome that we were all hoping for. Thank you, Denise. Roberts reporting live from Coteau-du-Lac. We'll speak to you again a little later in the newscast.
The mother of the Montreal toddler who was missing for 4 days appeared in person at the Valleyfield courthouse. She looked tired with dark circles under her eyes, wearing a gray sweatshirt and loose hair. She remains in detention, and a date for her bail hearing was set for July 3rd. We're not naming her because the judge ordered a publication ban on any information that could help identify the child. It was requested by the Crown and the child's family. The judge also banned the mother from communicating with the child and the girl's father. She's facing charges of child abandonment. If she's found guilty, she could have a maximum sentence of 5 years. The mother's lawyer said he's not requesting a psychological evaluation for now.
It's a person that's in very high distress. It's somebody who needs help. Right now, the defense is trying to get an exit plan for her in order to get her help as soon as possible.
The 3-year-old was found Wednesday afternoon by the side of Highway 417 near Castleman, Ontario, about 150 kilometers away from her home in Montreal. She had been missing since Sunday afternoon when her mother reported her missing at a store in Coteau-du-Lac. It wasn't until police tracked down an important witness that they were able to locate the girl using a drone. It's still unclear if the mother will face more charges.
We're still receiving evidence, so we're still looking at it, and if there's something else, for sure the Crown will take position on that.
The Crown says it will oppose the mother's bail because it's in the public interest for her to remain in detention.
Good evening. There are still so many questions about the little girl
Dropped off on the side of the road. How did a 3-year-old girl manage to survive? Well, we're all in wonder today, and police believe they've been giving us more information about just what happened. They believe the girl was dropped off on the side of the road by her mother, Rachel Todd, on Sunday, and she was here the entire time while a massive search spanning 2 provinces was going on. Now, when officers found her Wednesday afternoon, she was alone. And they told us today that they gave her snacks from their backpacks, mangoes and Gatorade, before taking her to the hospital where she remains. Here's more on her condition today.
She's still in the hospital. She's with her family. She's doing well, considering that she's been 3 days outside. She's dehydrated, but she's doing fine. What the investigation leads us to think is that she was left there and she didn't move for 3 days.
Now, there are questions about whether an Amber Alert should have gone out. To many people I spoke to here today in Castleman didn't even know that the toddler was even missing. And it was only on Wednesday morning that one witness who had seen the mother here Sunday afternoon contacted police because he saw a message on Facebook. He said that had he been able, had there been an Amber Alert rather, he would have contacted them much sooner and the girl would have been found sooner. Now, residents I spoke to today are also just in disbelief about how someone so young could have survived so long on her own.
That's a miracle. Miracle. 3 years old and she's still alive on the side on the road.
Whenever you have children of the same age, you just give that sigh of relief that thank God that she was found.
When I heard about it yesterday, that she had been found here, oh my God. That's impossible. A little girl like that, someone abandoning her somewhere like that.
And Denise, there were a lot of volunteers taking part in the search. You spoke to one of them today. They're so relieved.
Yeah, Mitsumi, they say this is their pay for what they do, because you have to remember these are volunteers who come out and they spent days searching, combing through the fields, the forests, the rough terrain here along the highway shoulders, looking for any evidence that could lead them to this girl. And I spoke to one of the lead searchers, and he told me that even though the girl was found an hour away from where he was, he still feels like he found her yesterday rather, and they are just really so elated about this discovery.
It was such a relief. Was euphoria, I would say. It's incredible. And I think it's been 24 hours and it looks like it. I just blinked my eyes. It's still there. It's the fear.
Let me say thank you, Tempe, showing some love in the super chat. So if you're listening, thank you very much. I appreciate that, showing some love in the super chat.
Feeling we're so proud. We're so amazing that's a kind of a miracle.
Now, an investigation is ongoing, and police say additional charges could be laid against the mother, who is still awaiting bail. In the meantime, they say that specialists will be meeting with the toddler once she is ready, and they're really hoping to piece together just what happened these last 3 days here and just how she managed to survive. Mitsumi?
Thanks very much, Denise. And that was Denise Roberts in Castleman, Ontario.
We do now have some breaking news to bring you on a story we're following out of Quebec on a missing toddler. Police have now made an arrest in the case, and the CBC's Sarah Levitt is at the police command post for the search, and she joins us now. So, Sarah, what more can you tell us about this new development in the case?
Yeah, Arthi, so the mother is appearing in court momentarily in a nearby courthouse. Rachel Todd is her name, 34 years old. Police saying that overnight, after having spoken with her, they felt confident enough to bring charges to the prosecution, who will lay charges of child abandonment. Whether or not there will be other charges, we'll have to see. Just a reminder of what happened here. This started all on Sunday at around 9:45. That's the last time that 3-year-old was seen. And then kind of mysterious circumstances here, because between 9:45 and 3 p.m., it's unclear what happened. At 3 p.m., 50 kilometers away from the Montreal borough where she was last seen, the mother came here to this area and went in a store saying that she had missed her child. She was missing her child and couldn't remember what happened. So police now saying that they are confident enough to lay charges of child abandonment. I also just want to note that the mother appears to have had a TikTok account, something that the Radio-Canada has confirmed was indeed Rachel Todd's TikTok account. She posted a video. Now, we don't know the context for which this video was posted, but in it, we see her holding Claire, and she's said, "You try that again, and this is going to get ugly." And
You try that again, and this is gonna get ugly. You try that again, and this is gonna get ugly. You try that again, and this is gonna get ugly. You try that again, and this is gonna get ugly.
caption says, "Have you come up against a mother with nothing to lose?" The SQ not commenting on that video, but that's the latest news that we have so far. This is going into the almost third day now of the search, and there's SQ officers as well as volunteer search and rescue crew out searching not far from here. Yesterday evening, they found a dog that corresponds with the dog that was said to go missing with the girl. They continue to search. They have dogs out as well with the search crew, and so they're hoping that they can find this girl safe and sound, but so far we don't have any developments.
So again, crazy story. I wanted to make sure that y'all got a chance to hear all of that. Something is wrong with this mom. Something triggered her. Whatever it is, you still can't, and it doesn't give you the right to do your children like this. Here is my problem. People use too many excuses when they see mothers. And y'all know I'm not against mothers. I'm actually for mothers. I'm for good mothers, just like I'm for good fathers, right? Everybody should understand the difference. What I cannot allow to happen is for people to continue, and I'll talk about that here in a minute, to continue to make excuses for women, and solely women, because if it were a man, a man would never get any level of excuses for his actions, especially when it involves hurting children or hurting animals or putting them in bad positions. We use things like, what was the mother's mental state? We use things like, well, maybe she was going through menopause. We use things like maybe she was going through what is it? Postpartum depression. We use things like she might have been on drugs. We use things like she was not in her right mental state. We use things like somebody must have made her mad. I wonder what somebody did to cause her to do this. Never and rarely do we point the finger at the person flat out and just say, it doesn't, like The Rock used to say, it doesn't matter what the reason is. Her ass needs to be in jail, period. For putting her child in danger, she should never have custody of this baby girl ever again. The father should get sole custody. She shouldn't even get visitation. She needs prison time, right? There's no way you can explain your daughter ended up 90 miles away from your home, missing for 72 hours, and you just didn't know nothing, right? But I thank you guys, and shout out to Dippy. I see you in the building. You said you would set this case today. Look, if more, I'm sure that's not going to be the end of it. So if more comes out, trust me, there's going to be plenty more to discover and talk about. Again, why this baby was missing, I'm glad that she was found. She was in pretty bad shape, but she's going to be okay. They had to put her face out there to know that who they were looking for. So that information was already public, okay? But nonetheless, I think there's way more to this story. If the father would come out and just flat out do an interview, that would probably give us a lot of insight. Like, were y'all having an argument? What precipitated this? That's all I want to know. So that way we can just tack on more charges and we can feel more secure in the time that she gets in prison, okay? So keep baby Claire in your prayers and pray that she can continue to grow up and become something great. Claire Bell is a beautiful little princess. Let me get my favorite picture of her back. Well, that's not my favorite picture, but I'm glad they found her. Maybe this one. I like this picture a lot. But y'all keep this baby in your prayers, okay? Because she needs some positive role models to help her grow up, okay? Thank you. And what the hell was the dog killed for? I think the dog was killed. She was just mad. I think she's... Like, why can't they release the autopsy, the reason for the dog dying? Like, I'd love to hear that. Was the dog poisoned? Was the dog thrown out of a window from a speeding car? Like, something had to have happened. I'm pretty sure that dog didn't die from natural causes. Right? How many of y'all in the building with me? We got story number 2 out of 5. Thank you, Tanaya. Thank you. Story number 2. Let's keep this thing rolling. We're going to keep it going. Anybody who donates $1 or above, I will make sure and shout you out. I've already shouted the ones out who already have. If you have it in your budget and you want to show some love, if you could do more, if you could donate $100, if you could donate $1,000 to the AFC podcast, I promise you, we will use it to continue to keep just paying bills and making sure that we can do what we do. Because like I said, it's not a super easy thing to do. We all got to go through it. So the more that we all help out each other, even in spurts, that's why I say if we all just send $1 a piece, it will help out quite a bit. All right. Let me see. How many people do we have watching? Uh-oh. Did I type the wrong password? I did. Shame on me. Quite a bit. Check it out, guys. Oh, we have 112 thumbs up. Not too bad. Can we get 150 thumbs up since we have the people here to do it? Do y'all remember the lady that abandoned her children for 5 years in an apartment, living on pizza boxes, piss and shit, and just nastiness and funk and stink, abandoned by their mother? While she out living the good life. 3 kids that were abandoned. Yeah, buddy. Megan, yeah, buddy. You ain't gonna believe this. I knew the system was already messed up because when I heard that that they were actually going to allow her phone calls when she was actually reaching out to the kids, y'all remember that? Y'all remember when I reported that? And they still did not take away. Deborah Dora says she donated. I'm going to check that out. Thank you, Deborah Dora. I got your Cash App. Love you right back, my friend. Thank you very much. Deborah Dora just donated in the Cash App. So if you're listening, thank you very much. That's all it takes. I'm going to actually reply to it right now. I like to send my little prayer hand emojis because you got to scroll really, really far back to find it. And I think it means something more special. So I like doing that. Because you got to scroll all the way back to find it. So thank you. I appreciate that, Deborah Dora. Much love. Kelly Bryant. This is an ongoing saga. She violated the terms of her phone calls, and they still were going to allow her phone call, saying she has the right to be on the phone, even though they said, do not contact. Uh-oh, I hit a button. Hold on. They said, do not contact, do not reach out to those kids. Right? He said this story made you itch. Okay, well, look, I took some of the doo-doo pictures and the pictures of the apartment. I took a lot of that out of this. I removed a lot of those pictures. There's still 1 or 2 like this one, but I took a lot of those shit-smeared pictures off of the screen because I don't want y'all to lose y'all dinner or lunch or whatever it is. Crazy, I know. Let's talk about this. Woosah. I truly do not understand how people are supposed to learn anything when it comes to punishment. When you give a person a little slap on the wrist, you let them go, you don't do anything. I just have a bad feeling with this story. Y'all remember the story on my channel? It's going crazy every time I talk about it. No, that is disgusting. Let me skip past that picture, right? This is the same person that I talked about recently who allegedly, I'm going to say alleged since this is still kind of an ongoing thing, I believe violated terms of her phone calls while she was in jail, reaching out to the victims, in this case being the kids or the people that were housing the children, trying to reach out to them, right? That could be a dangerous thing because you're still trying to manipulate these children who have suffered immensely, right? That could be a crazy, crazy thing. This same person was just given a hell of a lot of leniency, and I just don't believe that the system takes these type of things seriously. That's why the AFC is here, for us to give a voice for these babies, advocates for children. I want y'all to hear this story and hear me well. Let's get into the details. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. Let me say thank you to our friend Nancy over there in PayPal. If you're listening, thank you very much. I did get your donation over there. It said to support the children and people like you that advocate for them. So if you're listening, thank you for clicking that link and thank you for donating by way of the PayPal. Shout out to Nancy. So we are getting this story from cbsnews.com. So thank you for the article. But we also have another article, which I'm going to read from wxyz.com. Pretty cool little name. So thank you for the article. Let me give another big shout out because these things are not cheap. So let me say thank you to Sarah Gates. I think Sarah Gates donated 5 channel memberships earlier. So thank you, Sarah Gates. Thank you, Tomi Ta. Let me also say thank you to our friend Juju Positive, who wants all of us to be able to participate in this chat and feel the love and feel the AFC and what we do here and what we stand for. She donated 5 channel memberships, and they go to Queen Ebony, Queen Z, Connie Marie, Mary Collins, and Amanda Faye. So Queen Ebony, Connie Marie, Queen Z, Mary Collins, and Amanda Faye, you guys now have channel memberships. All you got to do is thank the person who gave it to you, which is Juju Positive. Juju Positive, thank you so much, and thank you, Sarah Gates. Y'all do that so often. I'm truly grateful for you guys. It's like I said, I know that costs quite a bit to do that. Thank y'all for sharing in the AFC and continue to keep donating. Thank you so much for doing that. Shout out Patricia Reed and shout out to Kai Red showing some love in the super chat. Look at that. Look at that. Appreciate that. Thank y'all for doing that. Let's get into these details because this is a little bit of an update. I just think that you cannot be lenient with people who do horrible things to children. They will never learn. A Pontiac, Michigan woman, an alleged mother, accused of abandoning her 3 children to live in squalor for about 5 years, to live in squalor in a nasty, filthy, stinky apartment. This woman got a bond and she was released on Thursday. This article was written on June the 6th. So she could very well be out on bond as we speak. I'm going to have to give you guys some of the details so y'all can remember. If you've never seen this story and y'all wonder why this is so bad, I'm going to have to show you why it's bad. Let me give a big shout out. Connie Marie showing some love, sending a $50 super chat. Thank you so much, Connie Marie. Are you in the building? Where you at? I want to make sure you heard me shout you out. And it says, "You are amazing. From my heart to yours, thank you very much. I appreciate that." I want to make sure and shout that out. I don't want you to miss it. So, Connie Marie, thank you very much. Sending a $50 super chat. Bam, bam, bam. So let me know. I want to. Okay, you did hear me. Thank you for the gift membership, Juju. There you go. Much love. Yeah. Thank y'all. If y'all can, the ones who got the channel memberships, make sure to shout out Juju Positive. She donated that to y'all. So thank you for that. All right, let's get back to this. Records from the Oakland County Jail show Kelly Marie Bryant is her full name, 34 years old, was released just before 5 p.m. on June the 5th. Additional details on her release are currently unknown. So I did get a chance to listen to the judge when she was, not everybody gets a bond, but she actually they were speaking about a bond, and they were talking about terms of that bond if she did get one and did secure the bond. So she has a lot of conditions that are in that bond, just so y'all know. Kelly Marie Bryant faces 3 counts each of child abuse related to allegedly forcing her 3 children, a 15-year-old boy, a 13-year-old, and a 12-year-old girl. I want y'all to remember 5 years prior, that would make them 10 years old, 8 years old, and 7 years old. $10 years old, 8 years old, and 7 years old. And I want y'all to remember, who said that? This woman is going to try to get those kids back. She's already trying to contact them, in my opinion. What are children supposed to know how to do at under 10 years old, 10 years of age or younger? They don't know how to do anything for themselves. And I'm pretty sure, with this being their mother, I'm sure she hasn't taught them anything. She left them to live in unbearable, filthy, squalid conditions in an apartment. And I took out some of the pictures because I know they were quite disgusting. So y'all get the point. Make sure y'all make these stories go viral, please. She was also charged with welfare fraud. Can we get a hashtag babies for benefits? I need to pull it. Where are my hashtags at? I got a lot of hashtags. Do some of y'all remember what my hashtags are? Some of y'all remember? Hashtag babies for benefits. What does that mean? That means whores like this only have kids to collect benefits off the backs of those kids, and we call that hashtag babies for benefits. Whether that be Section 8 food stamps, child support, car vouchers, child support from a man, or attention, whatever it is, they are only having kids. They don't love them, don't want to see them grow up, don't want to see them become something great, and leave them to die, literally to die in conditions like this because she's selfish and cares about nothing else. That is how we qualify babies for benefits. Stupid just gonna be stupid, and this woman is quite stupid. She was also charged with welfare fraud relating to get money from the state as support payments, where she received allegedly about $30,000. Y'all hear me? 30 grand. 30,000. Bryant was initially given a $250 million bond, which was later reduced to $50,000 cash. To the judge, I'm already, again, this is why I had lots of concerns. How do you go from a $250 million bond, let alone a $200? I can see how you could maybe go from a $250,000 bond to $50K, but how do you go from millions to thousands? 50,000, 5,000, she's out. Pay a bail bondsman, you're out. Somebody please explain that to me. When you hear the details of this story and she abandoned these kids and left them to die for 5 years, and you thought it was bad enough, which I believe it was bad enough, to charge her to the tune of $250 million in bonds, which I think that actually made way more sense for putting not one, not two, but 3 kids' lives in danger and probably ruin them permanently to stunt their development and their growth, to $50,000 cash. I don't get it. If released, she is ordered to have no contact with her children. Here's the crazy part. And thank you, Kyrie, for joining channel membership. I see you. Thank you very much. She was ordered to have no contact. Here's the thing. The person who has access to her children right now, watching them and caring for them, she actually reached out to them, from what I understand, from what I read previously, reached out to them and was actually trying to get in contact with the kids. So if she was going to do that in jail, what makes you think she's going to follow the rules when she gets out of jail? Huh? You don't follow the rules in jail. Why would you follow it out of jail? She was ordered to have no contact with her children or anyone under the age of 18 years old. She can also not contact those caring for her children and cannot return to the address of the alleged incident, which is the apartment that somebody else was paying for all of those years, or she in part was, whatever it was. I don't know if she was getting Section 8 and just paying the bare minimum. I don't really know how they were doing that. But eventually her just quit paying altogether was how she got caught up. Because somebody else, I think her father, was paying the rent. Oakland County deputies received a phone call on February 14th from a landlord at a residence on the 600 block of Lydia Lane in Pontiac after not hearing from the mother since December of 2024. The landlord said the rent had not been paid since October, and he was concerned something might have happened. When the deputies arrived at the home, they found it in a vile state. They found mold and human waste. I don't want you guys to think too hard about it. It's quite disgusting. And then the picture pops up. Garbage piled as high as 4 feet tall and an overflowing toilet. The children were reportedly covered in feces, and 2 girls had trouble walking outside of the house. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard said that investigators believe that the children were abandoned between 2020 and 2021, which is almost about 5 years. According to the Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald, Prosecutor Karen McDonald, Bryant lived with her 4 children at the home in 2019 and left with one of her children, who is now living with their father. So she had 4 kids out of that nasty thing that she calls a vagina. That is gross. Officials say that Bryant has 4 children with 2 different fathers. Authorities said Bryant did not leave basic hygiene products like toilet paper, soap, or shampoo with her children. The kids were taken to the hospital for evaluation and are currently in the custody of a relative under direction of the state. And again, I believe she's already tried to contact that relative. Let me read for one more article, which is coming from WXYZ.com. She said, and I quote, this person said, and I quote, "I sacrificed my children." That is a direct quote detectives read in court Friday from 34-year-old Kelly Marie Bryant during her preliminary examination. Y'all catch that? That evidence and more resulted in the judge ultimately sending Bryant to trial on 3 counts of first-degree child abuse and 3 counts of welfare fraud. Bryant is the mother of the 3 children found abandoned, living in mold, feces, and squalor this past February. The most notable observation was what appeared to be feces covering their clothing and their hair, Detective John Brish said. On February 14th, Oakland County sheriffs were horrified to find 3 children, ages 12, 13, and 15, again, minus 5 years off of that, roughly about 10, 8, and 7 years old, living in squalor in an abandoned Pontiac home or an apartment for 4 to 5 years. I'd never smelt a home that smelled that bad without a decomposing body presence. On Friday, 3 months later, their mother was in court physically for the first time for her preliminary examination. Prosecutors brought forth the detectives who found the children and who interviewed Bryant by herself. Brish said he'll never forget meeting Bryant at the police station 1 hour after they found her kids hiding in a bathtub full of feces. Gross. Her appearance was most surprising. Her hair was done. She was wearing what appeared to be clean clothing, I think is what they meant. And she had long, fake nails. So she looked pretty done up. Detectives said Bryant was always living within walking distance of the children she abandoned. That's kind of new. I didn't realize she was that close. They said walking distance. She hadn't touched them or given them any hygiene products for years. She would have food dropped off to them about once a week, which was like, I think through DoorDash or something like that. She was having somebody just drop off random food. And I think the last time that she dropped off food, she literally dropped off a loaf of bread and nothing else. She knew that her actions were selfish, that's her wording, and that it made her children sick, and that she had ultimately sacrificed her children for her own purposes. According to detectives, Bryant's children were found in soiled clothing, hunched over with toenails several inches long. The two youngest girls started their cycles in the home and were only given pads one time. And I've raised daughters. My oldest daughter is almost grown. You said that is new information. Yeah, because I never heard that either. My oldest daughter is almost grown, and my littlest adopted baby is 7 years old. So I've been raising girls for a while. Bryant admitted to telling children to never leave or open the front door, purposefully instilling a deep fear in them. They feared going outside. Again, this is why I'm talking about she shouldn't have any contact with these kids at all because they fear this woman. In those interviews, the court heard from all three victims of their irrational fear of strangers, alleged pedophiles, and being blackmailed, said Kanika Ferenczi, assistant prosecutor for the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office. Further evidence brought forth revealed that Bryant, the mother, would communicate mostly through the oldest boy through sporadic text messages. He had his mother listed in his phone as the world's greatest mom. Lord have mercy. You know, y'all ever wonder why I use the cuss words that I do? These people are delusional. They're past delusional. I don't know what word is worse than delusional. It's like they're not on this earth. They're not on this planet. They're not human. She probably put that in her phone, put that in his phone, programmed it as world's greatest mom. So if the bar is that high, if you don't strive to do at least bare minimum of what she did, all these kids will just flat out be dead. Everybody's kids will be dead if she is the bar for being a great mom. Everybody's kids would be dead. If this is the bar and it's set right here, you can't go any higher than this. She had her children listed as my oldest, kid number 1, and then kid number 2. My oldest, who was that? I guess number 0. Did y'all catch that? Then kid number 1 and kid number 2. I think this woman is fucking stupid. Let alone the fact that she's got a 4th kid. I would speak on the severity of the situation and my concerns for the children and their path to recovery and moving forward. And typically, her response would be, is there anything that I can do to help myself? Selfish. Like I said, selfish. That proves it. Detective said that Bryant told them she lied to all of her family to keep her children hidden. Because they would have helped. They would have got these kids out of this situation. She didn't want help. She just wanted money and wanted them kids to die. That's all she wanted. She took the batteries out of the smoke detector in the home so there was no risk of fire or any police officers ever coming by from the alarm being tripped, right? Because obviously they would have found out. The defense argues that the children were discovered in their care house interviews. The children did not seem to be suffering from severe mental harm, which I don't see how they weren't. Those children were articulate. They were answering questions. They were asking for clarification, said Cecilia Bronso, Bryant's defense attorney. Ultimately, the judge did not agree. She sent Bryant to stand trial. There is no question that this is an extraordinary case, said Judge Cynthia Thomas Walker. One piece of critical evidence we did not see Friday was the children's interviews with Care House. The judge said the interviews were overwhelming in terms of showing the mental and physical harm inflicted on the children. That's the only thing that would make sense if they didn't have any contact with the outside world for 5 years. That's going to create irreparable harm to any human being. Let me give you guys a fair usage. I've done a good job of just not cussing and fussing and losing my mind with this story, okay? Let's go.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
If you guys would do me a favor, if you're listening to the sound of my voice while I'm making some adjustments here so I can get this video back up on the screen, y'all do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up. Share this and please make this story go viral. We want this story to get 5 million views. The only way we can do that is with everybody helping out. 5 million views. We can get there. All right? Let me get this off the screen. That's the wrong thing. There we go. I'm going to play some of this. Here we go. Let's get it.
All right, back on the record with the Kelly Bryant matter. For the record, Ms. Carragano, you've had an opportunity to go into a private, confidential breakout room to confer with your client regarding the charges in this matter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
And are you waiving the reading of the general information and complaint this morning?
Yes, Your Honor, waive reading, stand mute, ask the judge not guilty plea on her behalf. I did advise her of the nature of the offenses, the maximum possible penalties, as well as gave her basic constitutional rights.
All right, this matter is hereby assigned to Honorable Judge Cynthia Walker. She will be back before her on for a probable cause conference March 4th, 2025, for a probable cause conference with an exam date set for March 11th, 2025. Ms. Bryant, that exam date is a tentative date depending upon everyone's schedule, but by the court rule we have to set a date to keep it going. That will be at 9 o'clock. The PCC, the probable cause conference, is at 1:30. Of course, if you're unable to retain an attorney, and a court-appointed attorney will be provided for you to help you navigate and to communicate before Judge Walker on your next court date in this matter. Pretrial services relative to bond, but for the record, Ms. Carragano, are you in receipt of the pretrial services report bail recommendation in this matter?
Your Honor, and I did discuss it with my client.
Okay, all right.
I am, yes.
Okay, and have you read and reviewed that?
I I did do that in the breakout room, Your Honor. So there's a lot of feedback, I think, from the jail screen. I think that's our problem. Right now.
Our problem is
But
from the
yes,
jail
I did review
screen.
it, and I talked to her.
Okay, all right. So they're recommending release with conditions in this matter, so we're going to go from there. We have the PCC date. I'm going to have you speak to bond, and then I'll make my decision as to bond, and I'll also have the prosecution speak to bond. Ms. Karagongo, you're asking the court to accept the recommendation as provided by pretrial services.
I am, Your Honor. MCR 6.106, if you go through those conditions, provide that a personal recognizance bond with any conditions should be provided unless Ms. Bryant fell under some of the very specified exceptions to a personal bond that are listed. The court can also provide a cash bond if the court finds that Ms. Bryant is either a risk to the community or a flight risk. This particular case is serious, and we're not denying that it's a very serious case. However, I don't believe that the facts and circumstances of the case give any indication that Ms. Bryant is a risk to the community at large. In addition to that, there is no indication that Ms. Bryant is a flight risk. She's a lifelong resident of the county. She was residing within the city limits of this community. She, was employed, and she has ties to the community. In speaking to her, she also is asking that the court consider a tether, which could be part of a bond if the people had any concerns that she posed a flight risk. I do think, the recommendation from pretrial services is in line with the Michigan court rules, understanding that it is a very serious offense. But the court rules are what they are, and they do provide that Ms. Bryant should be released on a personal bond with conditions, so that's what I'm asking the court to do.
Ms. Green, would you like to address the court regarding bond in this matter?
Thank you, Your Honor. I did have the opportunity to look at the pretrial services report. I know, Your Honor, just where to facts yesterday.
Hopefully you guys can hear that okay. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm going to just let this play out a little bit. I think she could pay $50,000 cash bond. She definitely not get a public defender. Yeah, I feel you on that. But I'm going to let this play out. Hopefully y'all can hear it because I actually tried to fix the audio here. So here we go. Said thank you for the membership gift. So what did we learn? Yeah, shout out to you. I think that was either Sarah that gifted that, or that was, let me see, Sarah or Juju. It was either Juju Positive or Sarah Gates.
That those are fresh in your
One
memory,
moment, please.
so
I'm going to mute the jail. Camera, and go ahead, Ms. Green.
Thank you. I did have the opportunity to review the pretrial services report. I know that Your Honor just listened to the swear to facts yesterday, and I'm sure that those are fresh in your memory. I am requesting in this case, I do agree with Ms. Kirandango regarding MCR 6.106 to the extent that you may not deny bond, but this court has the authority to put in place a high cash bond with conditions, and I believe that it appears that Ms. Bryant is not employed and that her resident status may be transient. So I consider her, and I think that the facts of this case portray her as a potential flight risk, and that there are 3 victims in this case that she should absolutely be prohibited from having contact with. So I'd ask the court add a specific no contact provision as it relates to the 3 minor victims in this case. And if the court would like me to go on, I can.
No. What I found very suspicious in the report for pretrial services, there's 2 different addresses given to her. So I agree with you, Ms. Green, that one could opine that she's transient. She's from here, she's from there. We don't know where she resides. I do find her an acute risk and danger to the community and to any minor children under the age of 18, let alone the 3 minor children that she is a mother to. With that in mind, I agree with Ms. Karagongo. I cannot deny her bond. That is, of course, my first knee-jerk reaction was to deny her bond.
A knee-jerk reaction, your first reaction was to deny her bond. Yeah, like, you hear what she did to these humans? God, like, just, I don't know how they rationalize this. I don't know how these judges, these people, these decision makers rationalize this. Hell no, she shouldn't have a bond. She tried to kill 3 people. And it just so happens that they survived on their own. Let me say, what's that? That is Duck and Felonies. Happy birthday. Y'all wish happy birthday to Duck and Felonies in the chat if y'all would please showing some love. If you want to let the people know how old you are, that's great. If not, we understand. We'll respect your privacy. But happy birthday, happy birthday. Much love. Much, much love. Glad to have you in the building, celebrating your birthday with us. Like, I tend to do stuff like that. I celebrated Father's Day here. I did Christmas here. And my birthday is coming up in August, so I might turn around and be doing a live stream on my birthday too. So, happy birthday. Much love.
However, because I find her acute danger, I find her a continued danger to the children. My main concern is, I don't know who, if anyone, that the children have been given to. If it is a family member, I'm concerned that she still may have contact with the family member from the jail with instructions to continue to engage in fear tactics to forbid the children from cooperating with authorities in their continued investigation in this matter. For that reason alone, I'm giving her a $250 million bond in this matter, cash only. The other aspects, should she post said bond, she is not to have any contact with these children by family members, third-party agents, or friends. So, Ms. Bryant, I want you to understand, any phone calls from the jail, should you're unable to post this bond, is recorded. Should the court find out that you are sending messages to engage in further fear tactics and intimidation of the children, your phone privileges will be removed. You're not to have, in fact, any contact should you post this bond with any children under the age of 18 in this matter. If you post this bond, you should be supervised by pretrial services, no alcohol or drugs, no weapons or firearms, and a GPS tether with a verified address, because I'm concerned pretrial services has indicated 2 different reported addresses for you. I don't believe anyone knows where you have been staying, madam. There's no consistent history. Anything further regarding the bond, Ms. Caragongo, Ms. Green?
Just ever so briefly, they had no issues finding my client to arrest her. So I just want the record to be clear on that.
Ms. Green?
Your Honor, you have before you information that the defendant has been lying about her whereabouts, the whereabouts regarding what she was telling where the children were. So you have a lot on this record in terms of inconsistencies with her location and the information that she's given to put in place this high cash bond.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for your cooperation in this matter. Ms. Bryant, you are thanked and excused from the camera. Ms. Caragongo, Ms. Green, thank you so much. Pretrial service, thank you so much. Ma'am, can you get up and let the deputies know we're ready for the next defendant? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. If you guys want to come and get your microphones, you're welcome to do so before the next prisoner arrives. All right, back on the record with the Kelly Bryant matter. For the record, Ms. Caragongo, you've had court find out that you.
Well, now to a major update. The mom accused of abandoning her 3 children in a home of squalor, facing a judge today.
And who could forget the horrific conditions those children were living in when Oakland County deputies discovered them during a welfare check. That was back in February. Hazmat crews called to clean out the place. Investigators say the children slept alone there for several years, afraid to venture out.
Well, today a judge ruled that there is enough evidence against their mother, Kelly Bryant, and ordered her to stand trial.
That decision coming after new details were revealed in court, with detectives saying Bryant confessed when she said, quote, "I sacrificed my children." 7 News Detroit reporter Sarah Michaels in court as some of Bryant's secrets were being revealed.
observation was what appeared to be feces covering their clothing and their hair.
February 14th, Oakland County Sheriff's detectives were horrified to find 3 children, ages 12, 13, and 15, living in mold, feces, and squalor, abandoned in this Pontiac home for 4 to 5 years.
I've never smelt a home that smelled that bad without a decomposing body present.
Friday, 3 months later, their mother, 34-year-old Kelly Bryant, was in court physically for the first time for her preliminary examination. Prosecutors brought forth the detectives who found her children and who interviewed Bryant herself. Detective Brish saying he'll never forget meeting Bryant at the police station 1 hour after they found her kids hiding in a bathtub full of feces.
Her hair was done. She was wearing what appeared to be new clothes that were clean. She had long, fake nails.
Detectives say that Bryant was always living within walking distance of the children she abandoned. She hadn't touched them or given them hygiene products for years. She would have food dropped off to them about once a week, and she confessed to detectives.
She knew that her actions were selfish. That's her wording, and that it made her children sick. And that she ultimately sacrificed her children for her own purposes.
According to detectives, Bryant's children were found in soiled clothes, hunched over with toenails several inches long. Bryant admitted to telling the children to never leave or open the door, purposely instilling a deep fear within them.
In those interviews, the court heard from all 3 victims about their irrational fear of strangers, pedophiles, and being blackmailed.
Further evidence brought forth revealed that Bryant would communicate mostly with the oldest boy through sporadic text messages. He had his mother listed in his phone as world's greatest mom. She had her children listed as my oldest, kid 1 and kid 2.
I would speak on the severity of the situation and my concerns for the children on their path to recovery and moving forward. And typically her response would be, is there anything I can do to help myself?
Detectives said that Bryant told them she lied to all of her family to keep her children hidden. She took the batteries out of the smoke detector in the home, so there was no risk of the fire department or police officers ever coming by. The defense argues that after the children were discovered in their care house interviews, the children did not seem to be suffering from severe mental harm.
Those children were articulate. They were answering questions.
Ultimately, the judge did not agree. She sent Bryant to stand trial on 3 counts of first-degree child abuse and 3 counts of welfare fraud.
There's no question that this is an extraordinary case.
In Pontiac, Sarah Michaels, 7 News Detroit.
A Pontiac mom accused of neglect now out of jail.
She allegedly left her 3 children alone in a house of filth for years. Fox News' Robin Murdoch is live with the details this morning. Robin.
Good morning, Jay and Erica. This is a story that we have obviously been tracking for several months here at Fox 2, and this is a very significant development. As you just mentioned, that mother of 3, that Pontiac mother of 3, who's accused of abandoning her kids while they lived in filth and feces, she is now out of jail. 34-year-old Kelly Bryant posted her $50,000 bond just a couple of hours ago, so she is out of jail for the first time since February. And it was actually a welfare check back in February that brought this all to light. That is when Bryant's 3 kids, who were ages 15, 13, and 12, were all found alone in a Pontiac home. It is believed that they had been living alone for at least 4 years. Now, we are told that that house was covered in trash and human waste, and that the kids actually slept on pizza boxes. Now, Bryant's children have been staying with a family member ever since. Back in March, though, you might recall, communication privileges for Bryant were revoked after she reached out to her kid's caretaker. Again, the latest development in this is that Kelly Bryant has posted bond, and as long as she does not violate the conditions of her bond, she can remain out of jail. Her next court date is scheduled for later this month. Of course, we will keep an eye on this for you.
If you ask me, it just seems like they're trying to set this up to give her softball treatment. Said the bond was too low. Yeah, how do you go from $250 million to $50,000? That makes no sense at all. But it sounds like they're setting this up to feel sorry for her and get her off easy. And getting her off is not what she needs to be doing at all, because every time she gets off, she seems to be creating more children. This is why we have a hashtag TTO and TTT. Women like this need to be sterilized. They should not have reproductive organs. They shouldn't have ovaries. They should confiscate her ovaries so she can't produce no more kids. Because this is what she's going to continue to do. She's not going to learn nothing from this. And with her being this age, all she's going to do when she gets out, if she does 6 to 9 months in prison, 9 months in babies, whatever time she does in prison is not going to be enough. And I think that by the time she gets out, she's probably going to be still childbearing age. So she's not going to learn anything at all. She's going to continue to keep doing this. She's not a good person. She's not a good human. She's not a good mother. She's not a good mate. And I wish that men would see this story, share this, make it go viral, and never even have sex with somebody this damn crazy, nasty, and stupid. You're just asking for trouble. You cannot be that desperate for sex to mess with somebody like this. Y'all keep those children in your prayers. I don't know what else to say about this. It's flat out disgusting. Hold on. It was one more thing I wanted to show you that I did highlight. Let me get back to it. Where is it at? I had something highlighted here. No, we've already talked about that. Y'all can watch that in another video. Hold on. Let me make sure. Let me go through my pictures just to make sure. I think we got everything. So if anything else, we'll do an update probably by the time that this case closes out, because every update that comes out just seems to get more and more nonsensical. Okay? Thank you. Might have been the last story, I think. One of these stories, I had something highlighted, but I don't see it now. Oh, well. Let's move on to our next story. Like Tommy says, let's take our dicks and go home. See, look, I don't want to steal Tommy's saying, but that's exactly what this situation deems. Stop being this level of desperate.